In the quiet town of Ashford Hollow, a series of chilling events unfolded that would later be known simply as the Last Rite. What began as a normal evening for the Harrington family quickly turned into a nightmare that defied explanation and shook the foundation of everything they believed. This is the true story behind the terrifying events that inspired the horror film Conjuring: Last Rite. Number 1, the beginning. It all started when the Harringtons, Michael, Elizabeth, their teenage son Daniel, and their youngest daughter Lily, moved into an aging Victorian house on the outskirts of town. The house had stood empty for nearly 20 years, its ivy-covered exterior hiding decades of silence. At first, everything seemed normal. The children explored the creaky hallways, and Elizabeth began restoring the interior, hoping to make it a home. But within days, strange occurrences began to unfold. Doors creaked open on their own, often at the same time every night. The air inside certain rooms felt unnaturally cold, even in the summer heat. Objects began to vanish. Keys, jewelry, even Daniel's school books, only to reappear in places they hadn't been before. It was Lily who first spoke of the shadow. She told her parents about a dark figure that stood silently in the corners of her room at night, its face obscured, its presence cold and heavy. They dismissed it as a child's imagination, but that would soon change. Number 2, escalation. Weeks passed and the disturbances escalated. The family started to hear whispers echoing through the hallways, unintelligible but persistent. Michael would often wake in the middle of the night to find their bedroom door wide open, despite locking it before bed. One morning, Elizabeth discovered claw-like scratches on the hallway walls, high above where any of them could reach. Furniture shifted during the night, loud thuds echoing through the home. Mirrors cracked on their own. The family began to feel watched, constantly, relentlessly. Lily became withdrawn, speaking less, refusing to sleep in her room. Daniel, once skeptical, confessed he had seen the shadow too, standing at the end of the hallway at night, unmoving, just watching. A sense of dread began to hang over the family like a storm cloud, growing heavier by the day. Number 3, seeking help. Desperate, the Harringtons turned to the police, but investigations found nothing out of the ordinary. Officers chalked it up to stress or imagination. Friends and neighbors offered little comfort, sharing hushed rumors that the house had a dark history. But no one knew the full story. Finally, Elizabeth contacted Margaret Delaney, a renowned paranormal investigator with over 2 decades of experience in dealing with malevolent hauntings. Margaret agreed to visit the home, bringing with her a small team of spiritual researchers. The moment Margaret stepped inside, she claimed to feel it, a dense, oppressive energy that pressed against her chest like a weight, according to her. Something wasn't just haunting the house, it had anchored itself there. Number 4, the investigation. The investigation began immediately. The team set up recording equipment, infrared cameras, and motion detectors in key rooms. Over the course of several nights, they captured a series of disturbing phenomena. Objects were seen levitating before being thrown across rooms with violent force. Footsteps echoed from empty hallways. One camera captured the chandelier swaying wildly, despite there being no wind or movement. Then came the voice. On the 3rd night, a digital recorder placed in the attic picked up a low, guttural whisper. "Leave now, or face the last rite." Margaret and her team knew then that this was no ordinary haunting. They believed the entity was trying to communicate, not with words of peace, but a warning laced with malice. The last rite, they would soon discover, was far more sinister than they could have imagined. Number 5, The Ritual. Through deep research in old town records, Margaret uncovered that the house had once belonged to a cult leader in the 1930s, a man named Elias Granger. He had led a secretive sect that practiced occult rituals under the guise of spiritual enlightenment. The final ceremony they performed, known as the Last Rite, was meant to trap a malevolent spirit within the home, offering it a sacrifice to keep it contained. The ritual had failed, leaving the entity untethered and furious. For decades, it had waited, growing stronger off the emotions of anyone who entered the house. To rid the home of this presence, Margaret prepared a complex purification ceremony. Candles were lit, incantations read aloud, and protective symbols drawn throughout the house. But as the ritual began, the house resisted. Windows slammed shut, candles blew out in unison. The walls groaned as if the house itself was in pain, and then came the screams, echoing through every room, a blend of voices, male and female, young and old, crying out in torment. Number 6, the climax. The final night of the ritual would become the most terrifying in the Harrington family's life. As Margaret chanted the closing rites, the entity made its presence fully known. An unnatural darkness filled the house. Lights burst, photographs on the walls blackened. The family huddled together in the living room as objects levitated and shattered around them. Then it appeared. A tall, shadowed figure with burning eyes stood at the top of the staircase, watching, unmoving, unblinking. Margaret stood her ground, reciting the final passage of the ritual with unwavering determination. A gust of wind, cold as ice, tore through the house, extinguishing every candle. For one final moment, there was silence. Then, a deafening scream, and it was over. The air lifted. The heaviness that had gripped the house was gone. The shadow vanished. Number 7, aftermath. In the weeks that followed, the Harringtons tried to return to normal. The strange occurrences stopped. The air felt lighter. Lily began sleeping peacefully again. Daniel stopped having nightmares, but the damage had already been done. The family, though safe, would never be the same. The house was later sold and left unoccupied. Paranormal experts documented the case as one of the most intense hauntings on record. The town of Ashford Hollow still whispers about what happened in that house. Some say the spirit is truly gone. Others believe it sleeps, waiting once more to be awakened. The story of Conjuring, Last Rite, reminds us that some evils linger far longer than we realize. A simple move into a new home can sometimes awaken forces that were never meant to return. And while skeptics may dismiss it, the Harrington family's terrifying ordeal stands as a chilling reminder that not all stories have a happy ending.